Is here. This is exactly what you do. You wake up, and the first thing you do is very quickly get out of bed, walk straight into the bathroom, turn on the freezing cold shower, and walk straight into it for literally just 10 seconds. The point of this cold shower is not to just make it cold, but it's to shock you. It's to create like a burst of pain. So that you specifically need to follow this advice. You put it on maximum cold and you walk into it to the point that you're shocked. It's an instant burst of pain for about 5-10 seconds, and then you can get out. You can make it hot if you want and do your normal shower if you want, but I usually just get out because I'm not doing this for hygiene. I'm doing this just to kind of wake up and spike up my dopamine levels. If you didn't know already, the best way for you to increase dopamine is actually through cold exposure. So our dopamine receptors are all fucked up from porn, video games, and all the bad habits that we do. And that means that we're less motivated and energetic through the day. To increase our dopamine, which is a really good thing so that you feel more motivated, cold exposure is the best thing that you can do. So you wake up and for just 5 to 10 seconds, walk into that super cold, freezing shower, and then over time, start to increase it by a couple of seconds. And then come back to your bed, set up your pillows on the back of your bed so you can sit up straight, and then meditate. Set on a timer for just a few minutes if you're new to meditation, or longer if you've already meditated before. And literally don't even use any of the apps, don't overthink it. Set on a few minutes of a timer and just follow your breath as best as you can. I'm going to give you a tip that I wish I learned sooner. Meditation is not about not having thoughts. It's not about clearing your mind. It's about the specific act of getting a thought, becoming aware that you're thinking, and then returning back to the focus of the present moments. So how this looks in like a weird equation. Step 1 is that we're focused on our breath, like for example, the rise and fall of our stomach. Step 2 is that our mind wanders and starts thinking about something irrelevant. Step 3 is that we've become consciously aware that our mind has wandered. Because there's a bit of a delay, your mind wanders, but you're not really consciously aware of it for a little moment. Then you become aware of like, oh yeah, I'm mind wandering. Then the most important part is just coming back to that present moment, that breath, without really judging it or feeling negative about it. So when you meditate, even if you're a little bit more advanced, always keep in mind the cue that it's the return to the present moment, which is like the actual act, the practice of meditation. It's not about not getting thoughts. It's about getting thoughts and coming back to the present moment over and over. That's like one rep of meditation, just over, back to the present moment, back to the breath, back to the breath, back to the... I've realized that my biggest constraint in life right now is like ADHD symptoms, where I'm constantly like changing my mind and I'm kind of like flipping out. I'm changing ideas and plans. You've probably seen this in my YouTube channel. I've changed like the style of video so many times. If you relate to that, for example, you can't stick to something without changing it. You go to the gym, but you keep changing your workout routine or the exercises. You keep constantly changing what kind of diet you want to be on. You go from bulk to cut when you're trying to gain weight or lose weight. If you can't stay consistent, in a weird way, meditation will help you, because meditation refocuses you back on this center point. And on a macro level, it means that you can stay on the path that you've laid out for yourself. So I'm increasing how long I meditate for, and I really hope that you will if you've related to the problem that I've just explained. Straight after meditation, I want you to do something really wholesome. I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper if you've got them available. If not, you can use your phone, and just write down a few things that you're grateful for. I've been talking about gratitude journaling for the last few years because it completely changed my relationship with my family. Before I ever started gratitude journaling, my relationship with my family was very like toxic, traumatizing, abusive. You know, everyone was arguing. Sometimes like police were called and everything. It was like really chaotic. And when I started to just gratitude journal, literally just writing down a few things that I'm grateful for every day, I started to write about my family. And eventually I wrote a letter to my father, just writing down that I was grateful for how hard he had worked to provide for us. And I showed him the letter, I gave it to him, I read it out, and it was like a proper like bonding moment. Like it was the first time that I had thanked him for basically sacrificing 25 years of his life to just work jobs that he didn't like full-time, or even more than full-time, because he was working 60, 70-hour weeks just for us. And it almost made me so foolish and like cold-hearted to think like I was 22 years old when I first thanked my father for anything. Since that point, our relationship significantly improved. It went from being so abusive and, argumentative to actually being like really respectful. Consider actually just telling that to your family. Consider walking up and just for the first time saying to your mother, I'm grateful for you. You'd be surprised of how much of an emotional impact it has on them, because they've literally worked and like had to use discipline every single day to look after you. And this might be one of the first times that you've actually thanked them for it. And you might be thinking like, oh, but they're parents, that's what their job is. Yeah, sure. But it's like you thank the waiter when he takes your order. Now, the most important part is what I call eat the frog. At this point, once you've done the cold shower, you've meditated, and you've done the gratitude, you're in a very positive state. Like your emotions are actually really nice. You're feeling like in a happy mood. You've been a little bit productive this morning. Now it's time for you to do something difficult. Pick the biggest, hardest task that you have and do that first. The analogy is, imagine if I said to you, okay, I'll give you money, like you'll win a prize if you eat a live frog. Like imagine a disgusting looking genuine frog and you have to literally eat it, right? And you have to eat it at dinner time. Would you eat the frog before you had that normal dinner, the steak, whatever? Or would you eat the frog after? So you'd have the dinner first. Really think to yourself, would you have it before or after? The intelligent, really intelligent, clued up guys who understand will actually say before. The reason why you'd eat the frog before the real dinner is because you'd eat it, it'd be disgusting, but at least then you've got something to look forward to and your palate kind of gets cleansed. Otherwise, you're eating your dinner whilst like anxiously thinking about that hard thing you've got to do. That's how most young guys are living, where they're like living through the day, pushing off the hard task and just getting anxious about it, but like pushing it off. And so your entire day's got this weird thing of like, you haven't even done the hard task, but you felt mentally drained thinking about it. So this changed my life. Instead of procrastinating on the hard task and trying to say to yourself, oh, I'll do it later. Choose the hardest task and try and do that as early as possible, preferably even before school or work. If you're quite young and you're going to school or you go to work, do the hard task beforehand. So that might be your homework. It might be you studying. It might be you practicing exam papers so that you can do better in the exams. It might be you doing some kind of business work. So for example, I'm a YouTuber, so it could be me recording my videos before I go to like school or to work. It's so important. If you do them before, when you're in school and work, you never have to think to yourself like, oh, I've still got that thing to do. Even if you're an entrepreneur, choose the hardest task, do that first, and then you'd be so surprised of how nice the rest of the day is.